What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm the Alliance, and welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're going to be tackling another worst rank list ever. Now, I haven't actually checked it out yet, but apparently this is the worst MCU movie rank list on the internet. So, we're going to see. Now, before we actually start, this was sent to me by Hazza Gaming on my YouTube channel in the comments. So if you guys have any things like this you want to see me review, like a rank list, or an opinion by someone you want to hear my thoughts on it. It can be Star Wars related or Marvel related. Pretty much any type of movie series. If I find it entertaining, I might have to check it out. So let me know in the comments below if you see anything like that, any type of controversial stuff. I'll tackle it and we'll see if it's actually true, if it's false, and if it's right. Because at the end of the day, if someone's opinions don't line up with mine, they're just instantly wrong. And that's just life, you know? Alright, now with that said, guys, if you enjoy this video and you'd like to see more, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more. But with that said, let us jump in. So the first one at number 23, this is the Incredible Hulk. I understand this being last. For me, this is usually around my last as well. It's not that great of a film. It feels kind of disconnected. In fact, you can kind of pull this one out completely, and you could still get the full story of the MCU without necessarily even needing this film. Does it go back in time and kind of show a little bit of how Bruce Banner became Bruce Banner? Yes. But it's still not nearly as good as, you know, some of the movies that are going to show up later on this list, and I think that one's obvious. I think that the Incredible Hulk is always in everyone's at least bottom 3. And that's just how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's the same way for me too. So that's how I feel. So moving on to number 22, we have Thor: The Dark World. So I think that Thor 2 gets a little bit too much hate. I don't think it's like great, but I don't think it's nearly as terrible as people say. It does get a little boring here and there, but I thought there were some elements that I really did enjoy. It was cool to see Loki and Thor actually team up, because this is the first time we see the team up. We see it now, like every movie shows them like teaming up. But this was the first time that they actually teamed up. And beforehand, we just saw Loki last in the Avengers, the first Avengers, when he gets defeated. And so you don't exactly know what's going to happen there, and they do end up teaming up to take out the bad guy, and it's pretty cool that they actually do that. However, I do understand that people do dislike this film because it is boring. It's not bad, but I understand the argument that it is boring. So I could see why it's in the bottom 5 for a lot of people. I would personally, I don't know if I could do that. I'd have to probably rewatch the film again just to really get a full opinion on it, because I actually haven't seen the film for about a year now. Because I watched all the films before watching Endgame, so I have to probably check it out again. Maybe my opinions have changed since then, but we'll have to check it out. Maybe I'll do like a review on these movies at some point, like I did with my Star Wars movies. If you guys want to see that type of stuff, like I just do full out reviews on every single one of the MCU movies, let me know. Maybe I'll do it. All right, moving on to the next one, we have at number 21, Iron Man 3. I agree. Iron Man 3 destroys the character. There are people who are really big Shane Black fans, and I get that. I understand, people who are Shane Black fans, they really like this movie. But it really does do a lot of hurt towards not just Tony, but also the MCU. It kind of, after Iron Man 3, or I should say before Iron Man 3, there was Avengers 1. Or it's called Avengers Assemble now. And it was a very good movie. It completely changed the landscape as the superhero movies that we saw. And Iron Man 3 came along, and I feel like it kind of ruined it a little bit. Ruined some of that. It soured it a bit. It soured that deliciousness that comes with the MCU. So I would actually put this on my least favorite out of all the films. I still think it's decent enough, but it's not good. I would put this even behind Incredible Hulk, I think. So once again, maybe I have to rewatch all these films again. Now the Endgame has released and is kind of in the consciousness, everyone knows about it now. Maybe I have to just do a full rewatch to be able to re-rank all these films myself. But yeah, Iron Man 3 is definitely, I understand completely if people put this at their worst, because it is the worst out of all the films, at least in my opinion. All right, moving on to the next one, Iron Man 2. So I used to really hate Iron Man 2, mostly because Iron Man 1 was so genuine. It was so original, I guess you could say, and it hit just so hard. It was such a good film, and then the second one came along, and it felt like a cash grab. Now I know that there was some studio meddling that really messed with that story mostly, but since then I've come around to this film, and I look at it as more entertaining, especially now that I know the ending of the entire story, or I should say Tony's story. I think Iron Man 2 is actually a pretty fun addition to the story, but you can tell there are elements that have been cut out. One of the biggest things was actually for Mickey Rourke, the guy who plays Whiplash in that film, was, you know, he felt like his character wasn't respected, and you can tell that there's elements that the film had to drop in order to kind of, you know, link into the rest of the MCU. So I do think the film gets brought down because all those elements kind of get skipped over or just cut out completely. So, but I understand Iron Man 2 being so low, because it is not the greatest of the films, but I think it's come around and it's better received now than Iron Man 3 was. Yeah, Iron Man 2, it's fun, but yeah, it's definitely weak compared to a lot of the other MCU movies. All right, moving on to our next one, we have Doctor Strange. So for me, I agree with this Doctor Strange placement. I like Doctor Strange when he's in an ensemble. I saw the movie. Visually, the Doctor Strange film is probably the most superior out of all the films. This is special effects and the different things that go into it, like the cinematography in a lot of the scenes. It visually looks amazing. However, the character of Doctor Strange, he's just a better ensemble character. It's like the Hulk. You know, how the Hulk is fine by himself, but he needs those extra characters to work off of to make his character better, as we saw in the Avengers film. You know, Doctor Strange is the same way. You know, I don't mind Doctor Strange, but I love him when he's with other people bantering, especially when he's there with Tony, you know? So, I heard Doctor Strange 2 is going to have a lot more characters in it. Specifically, Scarlet Witch is supposed to be in it. So, hopefully they can kind of work off each other and the story will be more intriguing, because Doctor Strange as a character is kind of a more boring character. So, I don't know. That's just me, but that's how I feel. I agree with this placement, I guess. Okay, next one. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at 18? Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, this is where the list starts to get a little rough here. Okay, so I disagree. I actually prefer Volume 2 over the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I know that's kind of controversial for a lot of people when I say that, but I think it did justice to a lot of the characters. You know, the first movie had a lot of focus on trying to get us to love these characters and understand them and see where they're coming from, where Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we already knew who the characters were. So they just threw them right into a story, and the story was like fast-paced. You know, you weren't getting tired of what you're watching. The movie is entertaining from like beginning to end, so I don't really see the issue there. I don't know. I think it's better than the first one. I could not put it this low. I'd actually put Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in like my top 7. So, I don't know. That's how I feel anyways. Maybe I'm wrong, but if the list starts here already with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that low, ooh, I wonder how the rest of this list is going to go. All right, let's see. Moving on next, when we have Captain America: The First Avenger at number 17. Okay, so I'm going to forgive this list mostly because there's a lot of good Marvel movies. I would say every Marvel movie is good in its own right. Some are better than others, but that's how most series are, right? That's just the way it is. But with this, Captain America: The First Avenger, I think that's like the very first, besides the first Iron Man. Out of the Phase 1, Iron Man 1 and the first Avenger, those are like the good ones. Oh, and Avengers, of course. Those three are the good ones out of Phase 1. I thought it did a good job. I understand the idea that people were mad that they wanted to see more of, you know, Steve in World War II doing more stuff instead of just a montage. I get that, and I think that would be awesome if they would have done more of that. But, you know, the story they were trying to tell and the timeline they were given, you know, I think that what we have is like the perfect amount of what we needed. And I think it does a good job. So I couldn't put it this low, but I understand because a lot of the other Marvel movies are, you know, really good. So I understand where it's coming from. Okay, moving on to the next one, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. See, Age of Ultron gets so much dislike, and I understand why people don't look at it as fond as you would look at Avengers 1 or Infinity War or Endgame, but I still think it's good. I think this gets way too much hate. People complained about, I heard someone complain about Ultron and how he wasn't scary enough, and I actually think that Ultron is the scariest villain out of all of the Avengers movie villains so far. Much scarier than Loki. Do you know what I mean? and even scarier than Thanos. Sure, he's not as strong as Thanos, I guess you could say, but this dude's like, he is just a sentient robot, you know what I mean? Incapable of compassion. You know, with Thanos, well, he was a bad guy and he did a lot of damage. You know, his motives were more driven by his emotions compared to Ultron, where his motives were driven by his programming. And I think that's scarier to me personally. For although, like I said, Thanos did more damage, Ultron, he was just like a monster. And I think that's one of the things that people overlook when they think of Ultron. So I guess I understand why people dislike this film as much, but I disagree with it being as low as it is. Moving on to the next one. Oh, people are gonna be mad. Oh man, I know some of my buddies, this is their favorite film in the entire MCU. At number 15, they have Captain America Civil War. Ooh. Man. Okay, so here's the thing. When I first saw this movie, I walked out of it saying, it's good. Not as good as The Winter Soldier, but it's good. And I've since come around to actually liking it more. I think it gets better with age, so that's a good thing. A lot of films, they like I mentioned, Iron Man 3, they initially come out and they're fine, and they get bad. You know, you start to see the cracks, they get bad. It happens with a lot of Star Wars movies, the newer Star Wars movies. Civil War is different, though. I think it actually, it's like a fine wine. It gets better with time, and I can't really see putting it at number 15. Oh, man. Because there's some other movies on this list, like Captain America Civil War is some people's favorite film, like I said with my buddies, and I don't even know what they're gonna there's a lot of other movies that shouldn't be as high as they are, if I'm thinking correctly. I guess we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's just keep on moving. Next one we have at number 14, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Oh jeez. Okay, so when I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp the first time, I actually really liked it. But after rewatching it, I've realized just how, like, not good it is. It's fine. Like I mentioned, there is no terrible MCU movie. There's some rough ones, like I mentioned Iron Man 3, but I wouldn't put Ant-Man and the Wasp this high, especially over Age of Ultron and Civil War. And Guardians Volume 2, I think in my rank list, I did a ranking for this for these movies recently, and I had all three of those films in like my top 10. So those three films aren't even in this guy's top 10. So man, it's just weird to see this. Ant-Man and the Wasp over Civil War. Wow, I'm actually going to be excited to see what the comments think about this. But yeah, that's... wow. Okay, let's move on to the next one. At number 13, Thor 1. Oh, wow. So you put Ant-Man and the Wasp and Thor 1 in front of Civil War? This makes me scared. I wonder where, like, the next films are going to go with the Captain America, because we got Captain America 1 and 3. Personally, out of all the trilogies of each character, like Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, Captain America has the most solid trilogy in my opinion. So I'm scared to see where they're going to put the best MCU film we have so far, which is The Winter Soldier in my opinion. Dang, and they put Thor here. Okay, yeah, so I'm all okay with people having their different opinions, but this is rough. This is rough for me. Ooh, this is rough. Okay, let's just keep going. Okay, at number 12 we have, oh my gosh. Is this even legal? Okay. At number 12, we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. Who is this person reviewing this? They must be new to movies, because you don't put the Winter Soldier, like, okay, it's one thing to put, like, the first Avenger, you know, one of the lowest, that's okay. Maybe put Civil War somewhere in the middle, that's okay. But you can't put the Winter Soldier. You can't put the Winter Soldier this low. That movie is just so solid. It's so good from beginning to end. It is the best MCU film we have. If not, you know, But Infinity War, Endgame, those are really good too. But like when it comes to just solid film all around, not just MCU, not just superhero, not just an action, not just an espionage, that film all around is just a very solid film. So I can't even believe it's this low. Wow. That makes you wonder what the rest of the list is going to go on, because we still have Ant-Man 1 left, which isn't like terrible, but it's not nearly as good as Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Okay, now moving on to 11th, we have Avengers Assemble. So they have Avengers 1 at number 11. Wow. They're putting Avengers behind Ant-Man 1 and Captain Marvel. I don't have to say anything. You guys already know that's ridiculous. All right, let's move on to the next one. Avengers Infinity War, number 10. Oh. Okay. I don't know what to say. I don't know how you can make a list like this. Like I mentioned, if you guys watch my channel, I am 100% okay with anyone's opinions if they make sense. But if you read the descriptions that I'm posting on your screen, they don't give any truly good explanation to why these movies are where they are. This is definitely a bad rank list. That's just how it is. There are no bad opinions. There's just bad taste. And this person has bad taste. Now, of course, I'm kidding, but I'm not. So, all right, let's just keep on going. Okay, so moving on to number 9, we have Spider-Man: Far From Home. Okay, I guess Spider-Man is pretty cool. I actually personally preferred Far From Home over Homecoming, but I think just because it was a different type of MCU movie. But it's fine. I'm still curious on where we're gonna see like Iron Man 1. I wonder where they're gonna put that one, but we'll see. Moving on to number 8, we have Avengers Endgame. Wow, so that knocks out all the Avengers. So you're telling me every single Avengers film, from Avengers 1, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame, they're not even in the top 7 on this list? Those are arguably, at least Avengers 1, Infinity War, and Endgame, those are arguably 3 of the best films of the last decade, as far as the MCU goes. And you're telling me they're not even in the top 7. I really try hard to respect everyone's opinions, and I keep saying this. But when you have thoughts like this, you really can't fully respect this. I'm trying though. It's just so wrong. Okay, moving on to the next one, we have at number 7, Captain Marvel. This is gonna make a lot of people mad. For me, I think Captain Marvel was fine, but I could never put it over any of the Avengers films, not even Age of Ultron. It's fine. I don't hate it as much as a lot of other people do. But I cannot put it. No. Let's go to the next one. Number 6, Iron Man 1. Okay, wow. So not only are the Avengers films not in the top 7, Iron Man 1's not even in the top 5. I don't have to say anything. Let's just keep on moving. Next one, Ant-Man is at number 5. Oh. No. No. Okay, moving on to number 4, we have Spider-Man: Homecoming. Oh, man. No. I'm known for having a pretty controversial Marvel movie rank list, but this is bad. This is just bad. Okay, moving on to the next one. Number 3, we have Black Panther. Okay, Black Panther is a pretty solid film all around. I couldn't put it at number 3 though. That's maybe at its highest is a number 8 or 9. Because there's a lot of other MC movies that are just better than it. But at number 3. I guess that's just the way it is. So at number 2 we have Thor Ragnarok. Okay, so this one a lot of people love. I understand why people love it. I think that it's fine. I do think that it kind of betrays the older Thor that we know from the first like half of the MCU, but I do like the newer Thor. However, I did kind of feel a little betrayed. It insulted the intelligence of its audience kind of by doing that, by dumbing down Thor. Not a massive deal, but it is something to kind of point out if you're going to watch the films, because Thor is a completely different character after Ragnarok. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it is something to kind of point out. And for our last one, we have Guardians of the Galaxy at number 1. So I know people love Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I personally don't understand why people love it as much as they do. I think it's fine. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is a lot better, like I mentioned earlier, but I couldn't put Guardians of the Galaxy at number 1. At the most, I'd put it like number 10, but I couldn't. Not number 1. Not in front of the other Avengers movies. Not even Avengers 1. Like, ugh. Winter Soldier, I just can't believe they put Winter Soldier that low. But yeah, so there you go, guys. That has been another worst rank list on the internet. If you guys know of a worse rank list than this, let me know in the comments below. Like I mentioned, it could be Marvel, it could be Star Wars, it could be like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. That'd be an interesting one if anyone could find one, especially one with like good points to make that could actually challenge my thought process or whatever. I'd like to hear it. But that's it for now, guys. If you enjoyed, please want to like, subscribe, and notifications. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.